I've recently acquired this bag, and in this bag we have a selection of DV cassettes, and if I recall, DV or digital video cassette was a competitor to Digital 8. So there's a couple in there. One of them still has a cover but no tape. One of them has never actually been used. So what else do we have? We also have a couple of pens. That's nice. Another pen. They might work, I don't know. Put those in there. What else do we have on the front pouch? On the front pouch we have... I don't know what that is. Oh, it's a little cleaning brush. That's rather cool. Or is it a makeup brush? I assume it's a cleaning brush. We have SCART adapter. Oh, that's a useful one. That's an input and output one. Oh, a little remote control. That's nice. That's actually for what's in this main section. And a screwdriver made in West Germany. West Germany foreign. So that's actually quite old. And a selection of AV cables. That's handy. Oh, S-video cable. Very handy. In this pouch we have another cassette. Oh, that's a little head cleaner cassette. Never used. And what looks like a power connector, and what looks like the power supply, genuine as well. Battery charger, excellent, yeah, all very genuine. So let's have a look at the main section. So that's quite nice that it is complete. Let's have a look at the main section. We have a battery. We have the camera itself. We have some protective stuff, various napkins, some bags. What's this? They just sort of generic refuse sacks. I guess they are. Protective bag, bits of plastic, and that's actually it. Oh, it's actually it. Right, let's see what it does when I connect a battery to it. Makes some noises. It's working well. This is the sign of a device that is working very well. As you can see, it is working and ejecting the cassette like it should. However, the basic camera seems to work. So what we're going to do is dig into it and have a look and see what is preventing that mechanism from moving. Right, so we're going to start with taking it apart and seeing if we can grab a look at the mechanism, see if there is something in the mechanism that's stopping the cassette from ejecting. So with these, I've taken apart something similar before. Took apart a Samsung Hi8, and believe it or not, I was able to get it back together. but they seem to sort of operate a similar sort of construction, or they seem to exhibit a similar sort of construction, where they are effectively two halves joined together, but sort of set into each other. So you've got an outer shell, and then you have an inner shell with all of the components, etc. And the outer shell and inner shell joined together, but the inner shell also serves as some of the trim as well. So like this could be the inner shell, this black piece could be the outer shell. You can sort of see, as you gradually remove more and more screws, it does actually start to gradually come apart. So what we'll do is we'll actually put the lens cap on, and we will remove screws until something starts to happen. So there, you can see that is already coming away. So that, in fairness, that is actually a little bit different to the Samsung I took apart, because that didn't seem to have separate panels. That was like everything was the shell, and it sort of came apart in, almost sort of came in apart in sort of two halves. So this one's already slightly different, which is quite interesting. We have another one here, and these silver ones are actually part of the silver trim, and the black darker ones are obviously part of the dark trim. This one I think will probably hold the entire lens assembly in, because the lens assembly sort of goes into the unit itself, so it is actually quite large. And then you've got the CCD detector on the back of it. There we go. Let's try and keep that in place to prevent the lens from being damaged. There's another one over here as well, so just on the back. Now there are a few around the power connector. So that's already ready to come off. So that's the front portion that contains the microphone and the front of the camera. It looks like it is clipped into place like so. There we go, so that's out. There's the actual lens itself. Looks like a couple of IR detectors. A couple of, I think those are microphones. Yep, they are, so left and right microphones. And let's see if that gets us any further with removing this piece on the front here. So let's have a look under here, see if there's any more under there. Doesn't look like there are any more screws under there. There is, so I'm trying to see if this back panel is separate. There are some more screws on this back panel, so let's carefully remove those. And what we'll do to try and protect that lens is we'll use this. we go. That's coming out. There it is. That's nearly there. There we go. Right, now let's see where that gets us. So there's one more right up there. So if I was doing this properly, what I would do is I would have the service manual, and I would have a sort of cardboard cutout, a piece of cardboard, which I would draw each of these screw positions on, and then you put the screws into the cardboard. So you can have, say, a piece of cardboard, you can have the back drawn on, one side, other side, underneath, top. Put the screws into the positions that they came out of, and that way when you go to reassemble it, all of the screws will go back into the position that they came out of. The other trick is to grab photos all along, all the way through the process. So whenever you take something off, grab a photo of what you've just removed, grab a photo of the screw, and then when you come to reassemble it, it makes it easier, arguably easier, to reassemble. So at the minute, I don't think there are any more screws inside of this. So all of the screws have gone. And there you go, that's beginning to come away. So that is this side piece. That is probably held on at the top, but that consists of a ribbon cable, which obviously goes to the screen, and a little cable to the speaker. But we don't want to be in, arguably, we don't want to be in this side. So if I can, I want to put that back and leave that in position. I want to be on this side though. This is the side that I want to be opening. Now, looking at it, it looks like it should come away. There are no more screws holding this in. That I can see. That should be good to come apart. So this, incidentally, this little one here will probably contain, yep, there it is, a little button cell. That is for little battery backup, for date settings, all that sort of stuff. Now, let's see. So you can see that is beginning to prise apart. It certainly looks like it should. We're not going to touch this side. All we want to do is work this side off. So let's open that so we don't have that in our way. And let's close that. see if I can manually because sometimes you can manually turn some of these cogs underneath to actually get it to eject. That one doesn't seem to be doing anything, unfortunately, and I can't see any release triggers. It says do not push here. I'll be the judge of that. That really does look like it's quite stuck. Let's put some power onto it. Can't really see into it, unfortunately. I don't want to go in through the other side because the circuit board is there, and if we can avoid taking out the circuit board, all the better. Trying to see if this will unclip the actual trim piece on the front, but I don't think it will. I think that is part of the... it's part of it. So this should pop out, I think. Oh, I've managed to make that spin. I've managed to make one of the cogs spin. That's interesting. I think that's done something different. That's come out a bit more. So that's sort of out now. Let's see if this will come up. That is kind of out. So the next stage would be for this to pop up. So that is kind of out. I think that's as far out as that will go. So that, I would guess, should pop up like that, maybe? Like that. Okay. Cassette's out. So that took a bit longer than I thought, but that does seem to have given us access to the mechanism. So there's a little pin here, but if I do that on the side there, that comes out. So that is now out, and the tape looks undamaged, so that's good. Now let's see if we can actually get in a bit further to identify what our problem is. Because now we're in a position where we should be able to get at things. Now I can't see anything obvious by just looking in here. Let's pop this battery back on. So that spins. It sounds like something on the underside of the deck, because that spool is spinning. but nothing else is happening. And I guess what should happen is that should now go in, kind of suck itself in, which it isn't doing. So we need to get to the underside of this deck. That's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm not quite sure how we're going to do that. Let's try something. There's a little stubby screw there, which unfortunately doesn't do anything. Am I going to have to oh, it's now trying to do that. It's now trying to lace the tape. That's interesting. Let's unlace the tape. I think the capstan motor is going. Yeah, the capstan motor is spinning. That's spinning. That should start taking in the cassette. I wonder if it's using one of those cable-y systems like on a VR 2022. So I've removed a screw from in there, which I thought was holding this in, but it doesn't look like it was. Now this will come apart on this side, but there's something holding it in at the top. I don't know if that is part of the trim up there, or if it's a series of clips. It might be, looking at it. Some clips. Now, I can't see anything under here that's holding that in. Those circuit boards, I'm not even sure how those are held in place. Oh yeah, they're clipped into place, okay. Well, oh well, in for a penny and all that. Let's prise up the little clip holding this one in. There we go, so there's that one. Let's remove the one, little speaker one. There we go. There's this one here, which should just pull out. And there's another one over here with a little clip here. Actually, that looks like just a push fit, so I should be able to just pull that out. And now let's see what's going on, what that's been held in by. I think I've just realised what it's been held in by. Up top, on the hot shoe, there's a few screws. Oh, that's less of a hot shoe. That's more a very cold shoe, actually. I don't think there's any power going through that. I think it is literally just a mounting point for flashes, lamps, etc. And now, there you go, that's off. That does give us a bit more access to things. So we can now see that we have circuit boards in the way of everything, and it looks like they are sandwiched together to a certain degree. See if this one gently prizes off, which it does. That's good. So that is part of this assembly. So that is a little pop-up there, and that's the viewfinder out the way. Now we are down to this remaining board, which sits atop the deck itself. And a tiny little one there. I think that is okay, that's easy enough. Getting closer, but you're getting to the point where it could become very difficult to reassemble it. That is the danger, though, of working on something like this. Let us continue. So we have, rather than see if I can fix it, this may turn into a why did it go wrong? So sort of post-mortem. However, we will certainly try to see if we can fix it, because it's the kind of thing I like to do. And everything does seem to sort of clip into place reasonably well. And then we have these little tabs, which I think hold the board in place, which they do definitely seem to. And you can very gently prise those like so, and that does seem to give us access. So there's another little one here. There we go. Then there are 3 on the side. Again, very careful. One up the front. There. And one around here. There. And there's one there. Oh, and there's one right, that's hidden. Look at that little one there. Okay, so that's that out the way. That's your capstan by the looks of it. This is the deck itself. And looking at the deck, that's held in with a few screws. That's why you couldn't remove this outer cover, because the whole deck was attached to it. That makes things very difficult to remove. So essentially, to get to this deck mechanism, you have to strip down the entire camera, which from a servicing perspective makes it nigh on impossible to service, to try and keep it in working order. And it makes it essentially a throwaway item, which is a real shame, because these are not cheap. Certainly weren't cheap when they were new. So it will be very interesting to see what has given up on this. Now, I'm trying to see what else we are sticking on. My goodness, you even have to take the lens out of the way. Really getting into it now. Well, we passed that point of no return a while back, to be perfectly honest. That's the lens. Another screw. That's that. Completely into it now. I don't think there's really anything else you can take off, pretty much. That is all of it. Quite astonishing. certain that's it. I don't think there is any other screws holding this in. That is it. I suppose there's one here. I think that might be for, oh, there's one down there. That might be for, actually I can tell you that is definitely for this front piece. So the microphones, etc. That's definitely turning. Yeah, definitely turning. Just taking quite a few attempts to get it out. Yeah, that is out now. That one is. So what's holding it in? Alright, so let's not focus on that now. Let's focus on this, because I don't think what I was trying to remove will actually get us anywhere. So let's quickly whiz this out. So if we can get this back plate off, we can actually have a look and see what's going on inside. And actually you can remove the whole mech. So what we can do is we can push that in, push that in. Now you've got pretty much the entire mechanism working its way out of the deck. And this should give us an opportunity to see what has gone wrong. And I don't think that's ever going back together, so that's there. So it's damaged this ribbon cable, taking it out. But let's have a look and see what's supposed to happen. So there's a tiny little belt there. This should spin. When loading, it should spin, I think, in this direction. As you can see, that was the little cog we were looking at earlier. And that little cog looks like it should effectively drive this in, and that doesn't seem to be happening anymore. So there's a little cover in here that we can probably remove. Oh no, it's not a cover, it's a little spring activated affair. And you can't even service that. That completely limits you to what you can actually do with this deck. So once this breaks, this whole mechanism, something has obviously gone or stuck underneath this cover. You can't repair it. So you can see there is a little idler on the pinch roller capstan, which flicks over to each respective spool. And loading, I think it should be turning this one. So you press that down, it turns this spool, it turns this cog down here, which in turn should bring this whole mechanism up and lock it into position, and then lace the cassette. Now the belt itself isn't broken. I can see that that is moving nicely, otherwise nothing else would work. But whatever this cog drives against to close this mechanism, that has broken. Now, it's quite possible, actually, it's quite possible that the problem is here. So there is a cog that's gone right out of alignment up here. I don't think that one's actually got anything to do with it. I think that one is basically the cog that drives the pendulum. You can hear it clicking. I think the problem is here. This has been forced. This is out of position. And I think that is the cause of the issues. Somehow, I think that Is it? Oh no, that's fine. There's I think there is a very tiny cog in there that it drives against, so that's actually okay. But the problem is with this not closing properly anymore. And that, I think, is the end of that. Also, this head, that is seized solid. Oh no, hang on. Should it? Oh no, there it is. It's the. Oh, it's like a Sanyo. And Sony F1. The actual upper drum is static, and then you've got the middle part, which is the actual head drum. That's what spins, but that does seem to be... it's moving, but not brilliantly. Yep. Sadly, I don't think there's anything else I can do with that, which is a bit of a shame. But anyway, we got the cassette out, whatever good that will do us. We've had a bit of a look around. We found out what the problem was, ish. I think that's it. Don't forget to like, subscribe if you've enjoyed it. If you've got any insights on these, let me know. Be interested to hear them. And thanks for watching. And that's what happened to that camera. I did keep the bag though. And then I managed to find a really good deal on eBay for an identical model. So I've kept a few spares. Came boxed as well, which is good. So this one does actually work. And this is what's on this one. It's on one of the tapes. Really don't know what that's about. Apparently that was filmed in 2005. And yeah, this one works a lot better. Well, it doesn't make the ridiculous noise of the tape trying to eject. So I'll show you what was wrong with the other one, as I can actually show you on this one. So I stripped it apart, and when you open this, these cogs down here should turn. That then drives the sled out and then ejects the tape. So what I had to do is I had to manually drive those out, which then popped it out, and then I was able to activate a little clip there just to pop that open. But if you look inside, you've got the capstan, and the capstan motor pretty much does everything. There is a little belt which connects to the idler, which you can't see, but it's just behind that video lamp. But it also connects to everything else, like the eject mechanism. So I think what had happened is one of the cogs had sheared. And the thing is, you can't get to it. It's completely sealed. So when you actually take this out, the back of it is completely sealed. There's no way you can actually get in to do any servicing. So essentially these are a throwaway item unless you can get the deck, and it actually works out cheaper just to buy another one these days. But there you go.